Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Empowered Pause. I am your host, Rachel Chinoa J. Before we get started, as usual, I just want to give you a few pieces of information about who we are at Speak Initiative. Speak Initiative is suicide prevention through empowerment, action, and kindness, and we are a peer support organization that stands in the gap with people who are experiencing mental health challenges or who have had past suicidal ideations. Our mission is to reduce the stigma around suicide and mental health care in the Black community by allowing our partners to speak, be heard, and live fully. We achieve this through our empowerment, action, and kindness programs, which are the weekly empowerment sessions, our 90-day intensive, as well as our upcoming walking club, among other initiatives that we have coming up. So that's a little bit about who we are, and I'd like to get right into today's topic of social anxiety. So I'm not sure the people who know me know that I have a little anxiety on a regular basis, but some people may not know how strong the social anxiety really is at times. So right now, we're rapidly approaching the season of summer, right? Where people are expecting us to go out, there are cookouts, there are parties, there are activities, and for whatever reason, I actually am feeling a familiar angst that usually comes over me this time of year. It feels a little bit like, let's get it. No, I don't want to go outside. I'm going. I don't want to go outside by myself. You need this. I don't even know if I really want to go now. And that keeps going and going until I finally talk myself out of what I wanted. And then I get a bad case of FOMO, fear of missing out, right? I'm not sure if anyone else has experienced this kind of energy in your body, but if you've encountered these types of thoughts, I wonder what you have done to come to contradict or to challenge those thoughts and to push back against that social anxiety. I always thought that I was being difficult or squirrely until I was able to put a name to what I was experiencing. Social anxiety disorder, it's having to mentally prepare for an outing or an event, even days or sometimes weeks prior to, is actually a thing. Always asking about logistics or who's going to be there were all ways of me attempting to calm the irrational fear that comes up when I think about some social events. It's weird because I did not learn of or consider that this was a condition that I was living with until years after I started therapy, and then years after I actually started peeling back the layers. Social anxiety disorder is a common type of anxiety disorder. The National Institute of Mental Health, NIMH, states that social anxiety disorder is an intense, persistent fear of being watched and judged by others. This fear can affect work, school, or other daily activities. It can even make it hard to make and keep friends. What I didn't realize was that in the times when it was becoming overwhelming to leave the safety of my home, to open a door and cross the threshold to outside, those were the times that I can now recognize as having symptoms of social anxiety. I used to schedule appointments, get to the day of the appointment, and need to cancel because I couldn't fathom outside. I couldn't fathom public transportation at some times, or even being around unfamiliar people, or unfamiliar energy as well, or any other reasons that would come up that would plague me. I thought that I was just avoiding certain situations and being my camp director self when I was faced with too much interaction by clenching my teeth, the rapid speaking, the pacing, and becoming extra busy were all signs of me coping with the discomfort of anxiety. I was recently reminded, however, that because the chemicals in our bodies are the same when we are excited as they are as when we are scared or anxious, that there may have been times when I interpreted what I was feeling as fear instead of excitement. Either way, anxious or eager slash excited, still felt like an attack on my body. Social anxiety can be so debilitating that it will not allow you to do basic things at times. Some of the symptoms of social anxiety are blushing, sweating, trembling, rapid heart rate, feeling like your mind is going blank, feeling sick to your stomach, becoming physically rigid, difficulty making eye contact, feeling self conscious or fear that people will judge you negatively, avoiding places where there are people, period. And again, these symptoms can be very debilitating and life altering for some people. Now that I am aware or a bit more aware of my body, I try not to be as hard on myself as I used to be. I didn't go soft or anything like that, but I did begin to change the conversation, the self-talk that would start as soon as I experienced some type of trigger or symptom. Even if the proposed event was fun or otherwise, it didn't matter what type of event it would be. It was just that it's an event. There are people, there are logistics, there are things that are not in the normal day to day for me. So the anxiety does come up. So now, however, instead of getting bent out of shape about my needs and my quirks, I tell myself that my over planning is a benefit because I'm covering all of my bases. I agree with myself that it's okay to ask questions and to Google ahead of time, ahead of arriving to a venue. I can Google anything I want. We at a park, what stores in there, what the neighborhood looks like. All of those things put me at ease at times when I'm making decisions on where I can go. And I've actually learned how to communicate with my trusted support system. And when I'm experiencing those high anxiety moments, it helps to actually speak to someone who can bring me back down and give me rational information that I can internalize that can help combat some of that anxiety. Because again, the symptoms can actually be extremely overwhelming. Before a recent event, actually, I struggled with major generalized anxiety and social anxiety for about 2 weeks before the event. Um, the day of the event, I miraculously did not faint. I didn't implode. I didn't lose my voice. And actually, the total opposite happened. The day was a total success, which is usually the case when I think about getting all worked up and nervous about situations or meetings that I have or anything like that. Moment of transparency, I do get anxious. However, I have to remind myself, and I am imploring you, if you suffer with anxiety, if you suffer with any mental health challenges, remind yourself that your condition does not define exactly all of who you are, right? Our symptoms don't define us. When you actually are able to push through and make it through an event, remind yourself that even though it was trying in the beginning, you actually did it. To still try, you might be pleasantly surprised. There's no quick fix to social anxiety. There's no quick fix to anxiety. There's no quick fix to mental illness. However, there are things that we can do to address our symptoms and the effects that they have. Social anxiety disorder can be a serious condition. If you are experiencing symptoms and are having a difficult time on your own, it may be helpful to reach out to a psychotherapist to help in navigating your mental health. So that is our topic for today, social anxiety. Just a little bit of transparency around what I experience on a regular basis and what it's like to actually live with a condition that doesn't fully let you shine in the person that you are at times. So when you're anxious, when you're overwhelmed, take a breath, try to breathe, call your support system, Remind yourself of who you are, and remind yourself that you can get through this just as much as you've gotten through anything else. If you are not able to get through this alone and you need help, you can reach out to Speak Initiative. Feel free to follow us on all social media platforms. You can reach out to us directly via email or via our DMs. We answer all communications very quickly. And if you need help, feel free to reach out to me directly and we can set a plan of action to go forward. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Empowered Pause. And also, if you or someone you know has had a mental health challenge and you would like to share your journey of how you are doing, how have you overcome this mental health issue, or if you're still in the midst of it, but you want to actually give somebody some empowerment, be interviewed on this session, feel free to reach out to us as well. And if you haven't checked the Mental Health Awareness 3-part series that we just aired, feel free to go back on Facebook or YouTube and check out our first speaker, KD. It was a great time. It was a great interview, and I'm sure you'll love it. Until next time, take care.